welcome to another video. Before we get started today, just a reminder that the videos that I'm making sort of from this point on are going to be videos that are sort of additions to some of the playlists that I already have set up. We've reached the point now where I've covered every part of both papers for your exam, so I'll be adding little bits. As new topics are released, I'll be going over those new topics. So I've got fortnight, for instance, that's going to be coming up at some point once I've gone through other things that are on my list. So if you've got any suggestions, any particular videos that you would like to be made, please pop me comments down in the comments section below so that I can get those added to the list and I can get those made for you as soon as possible. We do have a shout out today, so massive thank you to Uriti who has subscribed. If you haven't subscribed and you'd like a shout out, then go to the end of the video. Hopefully watch the rest of it as well, but go to the end of the video so that you can find out how to get your shout out. Today we're going to be having a look at sound within the IT crowd. So as we've done before, I'm going to split this into diegetic, non-diegetic and both, and then we'll be having a look at how you would explain this in your exam. Obviously the explanations that I'm going to give are not as detailed as you would perhaps have to give them in your exam, but they are going to give you starting points. Remember, in your exam, you're not going to be looking at the whole of the episode. You'll be given a small section for you to analyse. So this will sort of cover the main parts of sound, but you may want to practice this with a small 3 to 5 minute clip on your own. So in terms of the IT crowd sound then, in terms of diegetic sound, we start the episode off with Moss running. We also have the window cleaner, who initially sounds very muted when we first meet him on the other side of the glass. We've got muffled talking, which comes from behind the meeting room door. We also have the fans for Street Countdown, providing the countdown theme and the cheering as well. And we have that workout music at the end of the episode. For our non-diegetic sound, it's mostly music based. We've got the title sequence, which is very synthesized, and this in part forms the transition music that we get going from scene to scene. We also have within that title sequence itself a sort of computer error which pops up at the end. And then when we're looking at both audience laughter and that sort of laugh track that we would expect to hear within sitcoms, that's something that could be in sort of both categories, as can the countdown clock. The 8+ club music and also the silence at the 8+ club when Roy asks for a beer is something that we could consider as both as well. So how do we go about explaining this then? Well, in terms of our diegetic sound, Moss running down the street at the very beginning of the episode emphasises his excitement. This obviously increases the tension and suspense most of all because we want to know what he's excited about, but it's also a really impactful way to start an episode because we have no prior knowledge. The episodes for the IT crowd were not something that formed a larger narrative, they're sort of standalone episodes, so it's not like we have any understanding from previous viewings what this might be about. The muted window cleaner then is designed to provide humour. Initially this humour is created through the setting more so than the fact that he's very muted, because we can't understand what he's saying, but it's funnier that he's communicating or trying to communicate with Roy while he's on the toilet. But the humour then becomes about the window cleaner himself, and it's emphasised when this is how he actually talks, and it's revealed that this is how he actually talks. Now we have muffled talking behind the meeting room door when Jen heads to the Friday meeting, which implies a really busy meeting, and this creates enigma because we wonder why Jen can't be included in it if it's obviously something that's very busy and that includes a lot of people, and as she suggests, the other department heads. Now the fan countdown theme and the cheering, the fans who actually produce the countdown theme, so who actually do the sort of a cappella version of the countdown clock and who cheer for Moss in Street Countdown, they were actually fans of the IT crowd. So Graham Linehan put a message out on social media, I believe it was on Twitter, asking for fans who would like to be in one of the episodes. He selected people to then come and be part of the audience, not only in the 8+ club but also for Street Countdown as well. So the hummed countdown theme again creates humour because this is something that we wouldn't expect. When we think of things as being street, we think of them as being perhaps a little bit edgy, perhaps things that are maybe a little bit risky or that are sort of have an element of danger or tension with them, and obviously we don't get that with Countdown. It also sort of signifies Moss's successful climax in the narrative, particularly when he wins against -1. And then to end with, then we have this workout music. The meeting's very unexpected. We don't expect there to be workout music when Jen enters the room, and this is again emphasised with Douglas's dancing. So it's not just the music that provides the humour, it's more the dancing that does this. So non-diegetic sound comes almost entirely from music within the show. So the title sequence is music, it's synthesized music, so this helps to give an old-fashioned video game quality to the title sequence, which is obviously in 8-bit graphics, or is designed to represent 8-bit graphics. This conforms to conventions of IT and to the sort of cultures that Moss and Roy represent. Parts of the title music then are used to signify transitions between the scenes. Now this is a common convention of sitcoms and of shows as a whole. We've seen this with Friends as well, where part of the title sequence is used to show a change in the time of day, a change in the scene, and that's exactly what we have here. The end of the title sequence, though, has something that's not musical, but is something that's recognisable. So we have the computer error popping up at the end of the title sequence, and that's got a recognisable sound attached to it. So this is something that would be instantly recognisable to almost the whole population, really. Anybody who's worked with a computer would be able to understand that, even if they weren't necessarily fans of the show. And then we're looking at both. So the IT crowd was filmed in front of an audience, which I didn't realise. Initially, I believed that this was a laugh track, but having watched sort of various videos on YouTube and done a little bit more research into the show myself, they did film in front of an audience. Having said that, the laughter that we hear is not just audience laughter, but it's something that's been edited in post-production. It's emphasised and is cut so that you get a particular part of that laughter after each of the jokes. Now this could then be considered as both diegetic and non-diegetic sound, but it's designed to obviously show where the jokes are and to provide sort of an indication as to where the humour is for audiences who perhaps are not sure. So this would be something the secondary demographic could use to access the programme. Now, although the countdown clock theme is diegetic for the scene, we would expect that within the countdown studio. Again, it's emphasised, so it could be considered non-diegetic. It's also intertextuality as well, and by hearing that theme, it's likely to attract more audiences, so that's part of the reason why the producers would emphasise it, make it louder, make it so that more audiences can access it. The majority of the 8+ club music is diegetic, so when Moss first arrives at the club and is first introduced there, the music that we hear in the background, we would consider that to be diegetic. It's something that we would expect for a club. However, when he goes back with Roy, there's a slow motion scene where he's sort of walking through the crowd. We would expect at that point, if the scene is slow motion, for the music to be slow motion as well, but that's not the case. So here we've got a definite sort of post-production edit which would make it both diegetic and non-diegetic at the same time. And then we have the silence when Roy orders a beer. So silence is something that we would expect if something shocking happens. If something shocking is mentioned or said, then we would expect characters to respond by becoming quiet. But it's unlikely that the entire club would have heard Roy order a beer. So the overreaction here is what creates the humour, and that's really important in sitcoms. Silence can be something, or in any show, silence can be something that can be analysed. So a lack of sound is just as important as sound itself. Hopefully you guys found that useful. There's a few key terms here, so make sure you're looking these up if you're not sure what they are. In a previous video I suggested it might be a good idea to make yourself a little media studies sort of dictionary or glossary, so that might be something that you guys want to do and want to invest in, particularly while we're not at school at the moment. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the button below and hit the little bell icon next to it so you get instant notifications every time I post a new video. For every new subscriber I will give you a shout out at the beginning of a video, so if you haven't had yours yet, pop me a comment in the comment section below so that I know to give you a shout out. You can also get in touch with me through Twitter and through Instagram, where I'll be answering your messages if you have any questions or comments. Do please suggest any videos that you would like to be made, because I'm at the point now where I can take requests because I've sort of covered each part of the course. So if you've got a particular question, you've got a particular aspect of media that you'd like me to help with, please pop me a message so that I can add that to the list and get those videos made for you. And I'll see you guys soon for another video.